Well, Disney's Bambi is latest victim of the woke war on culture. A screenwriter hired to remake the classic says the movie's most famous scene, in which Bambi's mother sadly dies, could be scrapped as it's triggering for modern-day parents and their children. She elaborated in this interview with Collider.
What's interesting about Bambi to me is it absolutely is a classic. It's such a gorgeous film. It's a little bit different tempo than I think modern audiences are used to, and I also think there's a treatment of the, not to spoil the plot, but there's a treatment of the mom dying that I think some parents these days are more sensitive about than they were in the past, and I think that's one of the reasons that they haven't shown it to their children. But our take on it was did give a little bit more of a scope to it, and I just think that to be able to bring it to life for kids these days in a way that maybe they relate to a little bit more would be of service to the original.
How's she going to feel when I order venison for my dinner tonight? Children are facing an epidemic of anxiety, apparently. It's maybe because we feel the need to protect them so ridiculously much all the time. Now from Bambi. To discuss this, I'm joined by Outkick host Tomi Lahren and the author for The Case for Cancel Culture, Ernest Owens. Well, welcome to both of you from across the pond. All right, Ernest, you've defended the indefensible a few times on this programme, but come on, for goodness sake, we're going to try and airbrush the reality of Bambi's mum getting slotted? What's the matter with you?
Well, there's nothing wrong with me. I think that the reality is that as society evolves, we should also think about, the impact. We are in a different type of world now. There's a lot of violence on TV. There's a lot of grotesqueness. And I think that this classic film should be seen with a different perspective for kids. I think that the death scene isn't necessarily the thing that they should be fixated on. I think there's something to be said about how children deal with death and death scenes compared to adults like you and I. And I think that this is a very smart move. I think it's a move that is considerate. I think that it shows progress. And I think, to be honest, I think some parents would rather have that conversation with their children in the privacy of their home rather than having these films, kind of traumatizing
Ernest, what's next? Are you going to remake Jaws and make sure the shark doesn't eat anyone in case someone's triggered and can't go swimming? It's nuts.